Tonight on Y News. Self-confessed drug lord Gerwin Espinosa claims to have contributed 8 million pesos to the election campaign of Senator Laila de Lima and implicates policemen in illegal drug trade. The Department of Justice decides to place Gerwin Espinosa on provisional custody under the government's Witness Protection Program.
The United Nations Special Rapporteur requests for a joint fact-finding visit to the Philippines on the first quarter of 2017. Victims' kin are still crying for justice 7 years after the gruesome Maguindanao Massacre.
The low-pressure area in the Philippine area of responsibility is now a tropical depression set to make landfall in Caraga Region tomorrow. 3 people died and 5 others were injured in a blast inside a firecracker factory in Bulacan.
Y News begins now.
UNTV News and Rescue Command Center. This is Y News with Angelo Castro III, Gerry Alcantara, and Darlene Basingan.
Good evening. Suspected drug lord Gerwin Espinosa divulged during a Senate hearing today details of his drug operation in the Visayas region. Espinosa asserts that Senator Laila de Lima received 8 million pesos from him for her senatorial campaign in the 2016 May elections. Joyce Balancho will tell us why.
Gerwin Espinosa claims that he personally handed drug money to Senator Laila de Lima as part of his contribution to then Justice Secretary's senatorial campaign. In his testimony during today's Senate hearing into the killing of his father, Albuera late Mayor Rolando Espinosa Sr., Gerwin confirmed that de Lima was among those he had given money to in exchange for protecting his illegal drug trade business. And it was de Lima's camp who first approached him and asked for donation for her campaign.
Nung nag-usap kami ni Jaguar, sinabi din sa akin ni Jaguar na, pre, kailangan talaga ng pondo daw nila ni Ma'am Laila para sa 2000 election. Tapos ang inuutosan niya, yan driver bodyguard niya. So nag-confirm naman sila sa akin na totoo na hindi ka talaga iiwan yan sa ere pag magkaroon ka ng problema.
Gerwin says he initially handed 2 million pesos and 1.7 million to the driver and bodyguard of de Lima at a mall in Pasay City and at a restaurant in Macapagal Avenue in October 2015. After the 2 transactions, de Lima even asked for another 8 million before the campaign period began.
On second time na nagbigay na ako ng pera sa kanya, doon ko na siya tinanong kung sino ang pangalan niya. Sinabi niya sa akin sa second time na pagbigay ko ng pera, siya si Ronnie.
Gerwin started to doubt if the money was being delivered directly to de Lima when he noticed that it was Ronnie who always faced him during the transactions. Gerwin then requested to have de Lima join in the next transaction where he chose Baguio City to be their next venue, which happened on November 19, 2015. It was Diane who personally introduced de Lima to him during their meeting at the Burnham Park.
Sininyasan niya ako na lapit. So nung lumapit ako, sabi niya sa akin, nang narinig ko siya, sabi niya ni Ma'am, Ma'am, si Batman. So yun, yung mga ulang, tumingin ako kay Ma'am Laila, nung pagtingin ko kay Ma'am Laila, yung mga ulang siya sa akin.
Espinosa says they went back to the car where he secretly handed the money to de Lima.
Tinabi ko yung sasakyan ko sa Fortuner niya ni Ronnie. Inopen niya yung driver side niya. Inopen ko din yung slide ng Grandia ko. Inabot ko sa kanya yung pera na ang nilagyan ko, paper bag pa rin.
After this, he even shook hands with her and took pictures with her together with his family. However, the handing of money to the former DOJ secretary did not end there. Kerwin says he handed another 2.3 million to Dayan as part of the 8 million that they were asking. Meanwhile, although Senator De Lima was present during the hearing as a member of the Senate Justice Committee, she refused to confront Kerwin and just gave a message instead.
I categorically, firmly, and absolutely deny having known Mr. Kerwin Espinosa. I do not remember any instance or occasion of having met him. I categorically, firmly, and absolutely deny having received any money, any cash from Mr. Kerwin Espinosa, either directly or indirectly.
The senator also said that she knows Kerwin is being coerced to testify against her.
To me, that portion of his testimony is under gunpoint, under duress. May God forgive you for all your sins, and may God forgive you for all your lies about me. And I forgive you.
Kerwin was also confronted about other personalities his father named in a blue book that allegedly contains names of personalities coddling illegal drug syndicates. He denied having transactions with Congressman Vicente Veloso of Leyte 3rd District, Governor Dominic Petilla, Vice Governor Carlo Loreto, and Ormoc City Mayor Richard Gomez. Joyce Balancio, UNTV News and Rescue, Senate of the Philippines.
Drug lord Kerwin Espinosa identifies in the Senate hearing today policemen who allegedly received money from illegal drug trade. Aiko Miguel will tell us why.
Drug Lord Kerwin Espinosa names in the Senate hearing today a number of police officials who benefited from his illegal drug operations.
Patuloy iyong natatanggap yung mga naka-SOP sa akin na mga pulis o payola. Patuloy yung natatanggap nila simula nung 2012. Sila si Sir Matera, sila si Major Abordo, Sir Chowa.
Among them are former Region 8 Director General Dolina, Albuera Municipal Police Chief Inspector Jovi Espenido, former Region 8 CIDG Chief Police Superintendent Marvin Marcos, Chief Inspector Vicente Luot, Chief Inspector Leo Laraga, and several others. Espinosa adds that Superintendent Marcos received drug money for the campaign of his wife, who was then running for Vice Mayor in Pastrana. Espinosa turned emotional when he said that his late father, Albuera Mayor Rolando Espinosa, was not involved in the illegal drug trade and that the older Espinosa was just implicated by Albuera Municipal Police Chief Inspector Jovi Espenido. PNP Chief Bato de la Rosa also clarifies that the said PNP officials have already been relieved from their posts until they are investigated.
Hindi pa suspended, relieve lang, reassigned. Wala silang hinahawakan na pwesto, kundi floating sila para lang maimbestigahan. Yan lang status nila. Hindi ba ipit, kundi I don't want that may comment. Kahit na personal view ko lang yan is makaka-apekto sa ongoing investigation.
The PNP chief himself turned emotional while expressing his dismay over the officials who had received drug money based on the statement of Kerwin. He says he did not expect that they are involved in receiving payola or drug money, as he thought they were with him in eliminating the illegal drug trade in the country.
Nagulat kasi kasama siya doon sa siyang agresibo sa anti-drug operation natin doon sa Region 8.
Like for example, ito nangyari kay Chief Inspector Jovi Espenido. Niligay ko siya doon as Chief of Police sa Albuera because buong paniwala ko, kahit hindi ko siya personally kilala, buong paniwala ko na he will be my talagang siyang mapagkatiwalaan ko sa instructions na binigay ng Presidente na we will fight to the last, yung we will really fight drugs. Pinapasadyos ko lang yung sitwasyon namin sa PNP. If you survive playboard in the academy sa PMA, you will survive the world. Hindi kita iwan sa laban nito. I will be with you through thick and thin, no matter what.
Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Senate of the Philippines.
Kerwin Espinosa will be placed under provisional custody under the Witness Protection Program after testifying at the Senate today. Joyce Balancho is at the Senate of the Philippines to tell us why live. Yes, Joyce, go ahead.
Yes, good evening, Diego. After 9 long hours, the Senate has finally suspended its hearing tackling the death of Albuera Leyte Mayor Rolando Espinosa Sr. Kerwin Espinosa, who is the son of the slain mayor, stood as one of the primary resource persons in today's hearing. After Kerwin Espinosa gave an extensive testimony naming Senator Laila de Lima and other police officials as among those who allegedly received drug money, DOJ Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre says they are keen on placing Espinosa under provisional protection of the WPP or the Witness Protection Program. This will be temporary until they finish the final evaluation as whether he is qualified to be admitted to the WPP. Senator Panfilo Lacson, who heads the Committee on Public Order and Dangerous Drugs, says he is not convinced that Espinosa be turned into a state witness. Based on his assessment, Espinosa did not give a solid testimony against De Lima and other police officials. Lacson says he saw loopholes in Kerwin's statements, especially when he mentioned that it was Chief Inspector Jovi Espinido who introduced De Lima's bagman Ronnie Dayan to him. Lacson notes that during the hearing, Espinido categorically denied having known Dayan or having communicated with Kerwin. For this, the senator is doubting the veracity of Kerwin's testimony, also stating that some dates when De Lima allegedly received money from him were not consistent with the ones mentioned by Ronnie Dayan in a separate press con yesterday. Meanwhile, Senator Lacson is also calling on PNP Chief Ronald De La Rosa to balance his attention on cleansing the ranks of scalawag policemen and the government's war on drugs. Diego, Senator Panfilo Lacson says they still cannot determine if alleged bagman of Senator Laila de Lima, Ronnie Dayan, will be invited in their next hearing. Says it will be up to their assessment as to whether there is a need to clarify some of Kerwin's statements. But as of now, they will wait on Dayan's testimony tomorrow at the House of Representatives and see if this will be consistent to some of the details mentioned by Kerwin Espinosa. Diego?
Thank you, Joyce Balancho, reporting live from the Senate of the Philippines.
The PNP Internal Affairs Service recommends that the policemen named by Kerwin Espinosa in his affidavit as receiving protection money from illegal drug trade be relieved from their positions. March Navarro will tell us why.
The testimony of Kerwin Espinosa in his affidavit matches that of the two policemen under the custody of the PNP Internal Affairs Service, implicating other policemen involved in and benefited from illegal drug trade. According to Deputy Inspector General Leo Angelo, the policemen mentioned by Kerwin are the same names reported by the two police witnesses as included in the narco list of President Rodrigo Duterte.
The story that he has been telling us and on our record when we heard about what Kerwin Espinosa is saying now are corroborative. So may fit yung kanyang sinasabi sa amin at saka yung narinig namin na statements ngayon.
Uterio says that the police mentioned by Kerwin on his affidavit will be immediately recommended by the IAS to be removed from their post and be transferred immediately to the personnel holding an accounting unit while the investigation is ongoing. Should they be proven guilty, they will be discharged from service.
I will recommend that they be dismissed from the service and I will assist the CIDJ in filing criminal cases against these people.
The police mentioned by Kerwin are Police Superintendent Marvin Marcos, Police Chief Inspector Leo Laraga, and others who were also involved in the killing of his father inside Baybay City Sub-Provincial Jail. Uterio adds that he is giving them a week to submit their counter-affidavit before they face the summary hearing.
Even if they do not attend, I can proceed with my summary hearing ex parte, and then I will come up with my with the decisions based on the available documents.
Should the police under investigation fail to cooperate, they may be charged with insubordination, aside from grave misconduct leading to their immediate discharge from service. Marge Navarro, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
The House Justice Committee considers Ronnie Dayan as the missing link to the previous investigation regarding the illegal drug trade inside the New Bilibid prison. Nel Maribuhok will tell us why.
House Justice Committee Chairman Congressman Reynaldo Umali believes that Ronnie Dayan's role is essential in the resumption of the House inquiry on illegal drug trade at the New Bilibid prison, which will resume tomorrow. Dayan is considered as the missing link as the alleged bagman of Senator Laila de Lima, accused of receiving drug money.
Over time, pag napag-isipan mo, yung konsyensya mo ay ikaw ay natamaan ng konsyensya, baka magbago. So we're hoping because lahat ng nagturo, lahat ng witnesses natin siya yung tinuro eh. So he really is the missing link.
In line with this, the Justice Committee Chairman has asked the help of the Integrated Bar of the Philippines or the IBP to provide Dayan with a lawyer to help compose his affidavit, which will be presented tomorrow. According to Congressman Umali, after the committee hearing and should there be no warrant of arrest, Dayan will be immediately released by the lower house. Meanwhile, the Philippine National Police is closely guarding one of the legislative buildings of the House of Representatives where Dayan is temporarily detained. In the picture given by the lower house today, Dayan is seen having a haircut while watching the Senate investigation on the killing of Albuera Leyte Mayor Rolando Espinosa. Ronnie's wife Arlene also paid a visit. According to the Sergeant-at-Arms of the Congress, they prohibited Dayan to use any gadgets.
Ang binawa lang sa kanya is actually yung communications outside. No gadgets, no. Kasi baka may mga mag-influence.
A medical checkup was also conducted for Dayan to ensure that he is prepared to face the hearing tomorrow.
The doctor said, and he himself said, kaya niya for tomorrow. He wants to protect his name and his family, kaya sasabihin na niya for his family's sake.
Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, House of Representatives.
The United Nations Special Rapporteur on Extrajudicial and Summary Executions, Agnes Callamard, requests for a joint fact-finding visit to the Philippines on the first quarter of 2017. Rosalie Coz will tell us why.
The visitation request of UN Special Rapporteur on Extrajudicial, Summary or Arbitrary Executions Dr. Agnes Callamard to the Philippine government is to examine issues concerning the protection of the right to life and right to health of the citizens. This is in relation to the stern anti-drug war of President Rodrigo Duterte, which has seen a rising spate of drug-related killings. The focus is to look into the serious allegations of extrajudicial killings based on reports forwarded to the United Nations Human Rights Council. According to the briefing note published in the United Nations Human Rights webpage, the Special Rapporteurs Dr. Callamard and UN Special Rapporteur on Health, Danos Porras, requested for a joint fact-finding visit in the Philippines on the first quarter of 2017. The Special Rapporteur undertakes 2 country visits per year and submits findings and recommendations to the United Nations Human Rights Council. The UN clarified that the joint fact-finding visit aims to monitor and report only on alleged summary executions and not of a criminal, judicial, or quasi-judicial nature. During the visit in the Philippines, the UN Special Rapporteurs will meet with government officials, NGOs, international and regional organizations, victims, detainees, and media. Country visits often take place for a period of 1 to 2 weeks. Meanwhile, the Department of Foreign Affairs said the request of the Special Rapporteurs for freedom of movement, security, and non-reprisal are included in the terms of reference to be agreed upon by the Philippine Presidential Human Rights Committee Secretariat and the UN. It also said that it's still early to say that the final schedule of Callamard's visit in the country is on the first quarter of 2017.
At this time, parang premature pa, no? Na sabihin na natin matutuloy nga sa first quarter of 2017 yung pagbisita. Depende yun kung magkakasundo tayo dun sa terms of reference ng country visit.
Rosa Licoz, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
The Department of Justice is now reviewing the recommendation to grant 55 prisoners parole this coming December. Roderick Mendoza will tell us why.
55 prisoners may be granted parole and walk free this coming December. The Department of Justice revealed on the program Get It Straight with Daniel Razon that the Board of Pardons and Parole has submitted a list of qualified inmates. Last Thursday, President Duterte said he wants to give executive clemency to all prisoners 80 years and above.
Pinapalabi ko sa technical ng DOJ yan kung mapapwede na.
So ito po, finorward na sa inyo yung list na yun. Okay, so after finalizing...
By process, pag si BPP nag-recommend na yun, most likely, tapos na yung documentation yan.
Yes.
So it's just a matter of time na i-release na lang din sila.
Prisoners may apply for parole if they think they are already qualified. The Bureau of Corrections is also finalizing the single carpeta system where the inmates can monitor the computation of their sentence.
Gusto namin mangyari, parang may kiosk dun sa Bilibid, sila mismo kaya nilang
pwede sila mag-inquire doon.
Mag-inquire.
Pwede nilang i-check.
Kung ilan pang tao nang kaya nilang bunuin.
Or kung qualified na ba sila.
Orseo said he will focus on transformation of inmates, noting that some got involved in more illegal activities instead of being rehabilitated while serving their sentence. It can be recalled that some of the big-time drug lords in Bilibid who testified before the Congress were convicted not for drug trafficking but for murder, kidnapping, and carnapping.
Sa tingin ho ba ninyo, nangyayari ho, nako-correct? Kasi parang ayos yung correction mo mula sa pagiging drug addict, drug lord ka na ngayon. Parang gano'n.
May PhD na. Parang yung mga bidwon pumasok ka ng robbery ka, paglabas mo, ka na, may PhD,
may doctorate degree
na drug trafficking.
Nakikita niyo ba na nasa-serve niya yung mismong pangalan niya, Bureau of Corrections?
Sa ngayon, kung the way it looks like, parang hindi. Kaya nga, isa sa mga ang gusto kong tutukan yung talagang reformation aspect.
Roderick Mendoza, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
Motorists are experiencing moderate to heavy traffic along Quezon Avenue in España. John Nano is at Quezon Avenue to tell us why, live. Yes, John.
Yes, good evening, Darlene. We are now right here in G. Araneta Avenue to know the latest traffic update in some major roads within Metro Manila. Let's take a look at the traffic situation. Let's begin here in G. Araneta Avenue for motorists and commuters passing along here in the westbound area. For those who are traveling going home to Manila area, coming from Roosevelt Avenue until Santo Domingo, traffic is in light to moderate situation right now. But travelers going along España should expect a moderate to heavy movement of vehicles from Banawe area up to Dituason and Mayon area. Meanwhile, in the eastbound area, for those who are traveling coming from Manila area, going back here in Quezon City, right here in G. Araneta Avenue, motorists will experience light to moderate traffic, especially for those who are exiting in EDSA Quezon Avenue, as well as for those who are traversing along Commonwealth eastbound for those commuters going to Fairview, Quezon City. Let's take a look at some of our live traffic points. First, in EDSA Balintawak. For our commuters going to Monumento Caloocan, coming from Balintawak, motorists have nothing to worry because traffic in that area right now is in light situation. But for those who are traveling along the southbound area going to Muñoz, should prepare for a moderate movement of vehicles. Let's proceed in España Blumentritt. Vehicles going to Welcome Rotunda are currently experiencing a moderate flow of vehicles, as well as for those commuters and motorists passing along the opposite side of the lane coming from Blumentritt going to España UST will also experience a moderate traffic situation. And lastly, in EDSA Bagong Barrio, for travelers going to Monumento or for those who are in the northbound area, light traffic is being experienced as of this time. While for those who are going to Balintawak area, should expect a moderate flow of vehicles. Once again, Darlene, we would like to remind all the motorists out there that since tomorrow is Thursday and number coding scheme is still being implemented, all vehicles with plate numbers ending in 7 and 8 is strictly prohibited in all major roads within Metro Manila from 7 o'clock in the morning until 8 o'clock in the evening. And that was the latest traffic update. Back to you, Darlene.
Thank you, Joanne. And that's Joanne Nano reporting live from G. Araneta, Quezon Avenue.
Next in Y News. Victims' skin are still crying for justice 7 years after the gruesome Maguindanao Massacre.
And the Department of Trade and Industry reminds consumers not to buy substandard decorative lights to prevent fire, especially this holiday season.
Y News will be right back. Seven years into the gruesome Maguindanao Massacre, families and relatives of victims are still crying for justice. Roderick Mendoza will tell us why.
The gruesome killing of 58 people, including 32 journalists, in what is now known as the Maguindanao Massacre is being commemorated today. After 7 years of lengthy trial, none of the accused has been convicted. The Quezon City Trial Court handling the cases has already resolved all bail petitions except for principal accused Andal Ampatuan Jr. The prosecution has rested its case against more than 100 of the accused. In January next year, most of the accused will start presenting their defense. Afterwards, the court will decide on the cases. Today, the families of the victims once again cry for justice.
Kung sino pa naman yung pumatay na nasa gobyerno, sila po ang gobyerno po ang may responsibilidad na kami ay mabigyan ng compensation.
Sana po sa panahon ngayon ng bagong DOJ Secretary, sana po bago matatapos ang kanyang term, makukuha namin ang hustisya.
Inaano ko po ang ating mahal na Pangulo. Alam kong matapang po siya. Sana mabigyan po ng hustisya ang aming mahal sa buhay.
They call for a more speedy trial and have convictions by next year.
Sana hindi na umabot sa susunod na taon na babalik ulit kami dito para manawagan ng hustisya.
Yung challenge natin dun sa gobyerno ni Duterte na magkaroon talaga ng conviction dito sa kaso na to.
The DOJ reassures the victim's skin that they are doing everything to bring justice to the victims. Meanwhile, despite President Duterte's criticisms of journalists, no media killing has been reported 5 months into his term. The current administration is also pushing for the creation of a presidential task force to provide safety to the members of the media. Roderick Mendoza, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
It has been 7 years since the brutal Maguindanao Massacre happened on November 23, 2009. Yet, the tragedy remains unsolved. Grace Casin will tell us why.
2 presidents have already passed, yet the worst case of election-related violence in the country is still far from closure. In 2009, then Bulacan Vice Mayor Ismael Toto Mangudadato attempted to topple the powerful Ampatuan clan in Maguindanao by running against Andal Ampatuan Jr. for the position of Governor of Maguindanao. His supporters, family, and some members of media are on their way to provincial capital for the filing of Mangudadato's certificate of candidacy when the convoy was ambushed. 58 people were killed in Sitio Masalay, Barangay Salman, Ampatuan, Maguindanao, including 32 journalists, 4 of them from UNTV. Some brutally shot, others buried alive in pits, while several bodies were left lying nearby. November 23, 2016 marks the 7th year since the tragedy, tagged as the single deadliest attack against media.
197 were accused, including members of the Ampatuan clan who allegedly ordered and led the killing. 81 suspects remain at large and 106 remain on trial. The trial started in January 2010, but until today, no one has been convicted over the massacre. With a high number of victims and accused, the prosecution expects the case to last for 24 years. In 2014, 42 policemen charged in relation to the case were allowed to post bail. In January 2015, Judge Jocelyn Solis Reyes granted Ampatuan senior son Dato Sahid Islam temporary freedom after posting a 200,000 peso bail per murder count or 11.6 million pesos for 58 counts filed 2 months after. On July 17, 2015, Ampatuan Sr. died due to liver cancer while he was confined at the National Kidney and Transplant Institute following a court decision to grant him hospital arrest in June 2015. And in September of the same year, the court denied the bail petition of Ampatuan Sr.'s other son and one of the main accused, former ARMM Governor Zaldi Ampatuan. The Maguindanao Massacre is currently being heard by the Quezon City Regional Trial Court Branch 221, with Judge Jocelyn Solis Reyes assigned to focus solely on the case. Reyes has heard 131 prosecution witnesses, 34 defense witnesses, and 58 private complaints as of August 2016. The prosecution has rested its case after filing 5 batches of formal offers of evidence against 105 accused, and the court has already resolved the first batch involving 9 accused. The defense led by Ampatuan clan started its presentation of evidence on June 29, 2016. Once the defense is finished, the 7-year-old case will be submitted for decision. Grace Casin, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
ARMM Governor Mujib Hataman calls on the government, particularly the DOJ, to give justice to the victims of the 2009 Maguindanao Massacre. Hataman has expressed dismay over the slow pace of the case, especially since the incident happened in the province of his jurisdiction. For him, the resolution of cases should not go beyond 7 years. It can be noted that there's no convicted suspect yet in the brutal massacre of the victims, who were mostly members of the media. The governor hopes to attain justice for the victims within the term of President Rodrigo Duterte.
Kaya ang pakiusap natin sa hudikatura na dapat bigyan nila ng pansin at panahon, kung maaari, kung hindi man makayanan ngayong taon, dapat sana mga first or second quarter ng susunod na taon ay tapos na yung paggawad ng katarungan sa lahat ng biktima ng Maguindanao Massacre.
Armed Forces of the Philippines Chief of Staff General Ricardo Visayas asserts that they are not alarmed by the threats of charges by the anti-Marcos groups. Brian De Paz will tell us why.
AFP Chief of Staff General Ricardo Visayas stresses that the military only respect what the Marcos family requested for the burial of late President Ferdinand Marcos to be in private. General Visayas is present during the presentation of the reward money worth 5.9 million pesos for the AFP informants who helped the government in neutralizing Abu Sayyaf group in Mindanao.
It's the call of the Marcoses, no, to kung kailan nila gusto, no. So it's just a matter of coordination. I was still in Israel when I was told that the Marcos burial will be pushed to last Friday, no.
The AFP chief says in a press conference that they are ready to face charges that will be filed against them by anti-Marcos groups who say that what the military did was wrong and illegal. The general insists that they are only following the order from the Department of National Defense.
Anong masama doon? Kung gusto ng kaya kayo, kung gusto niyo ilibing na tahimik yung yung mahal niyo sa buhay, what's wrong with that? They would like us to be seen in jails. So be it. Is there any illegality there? No? I don't think so.
Visaya also stresses the AFP's willingness and availability to assist the Philippine National Police in the rally that the protesters will stage on Friday. The Chief of Staff also denies that there is a secret place inside the tomb of former president as accused by some news reports, and appeals to the public to continue to have trust in the armed forces.
Hindi kami nakikipagsabuatan ng kahit sino man, no? We are the armed forces of the people, no? Please trust us, no? Anybody can ask for help sa amin. Kahit nga nakita nyo naman na kahit mga kalaban namin doon, tinutulungan nga namin
On another issue, General Visaya says the RPU's military exercises will continue but activities will be reduced, including the FIBLEX.
They respected us and as I have told you, we can always change some exercises and based doon sa guidance ng ating presidente, it will be more on counter-terrorism.
General Visaya adds that even if he will be retiring on December 8, the government operation will continue to be intensified until the Abu Sayyaf group in Sulu is neutralized. He denies reports that there is jihadist group from Malaysia that arrive in the country. He stands that there is a development under his administration in war against the ASG.
When I took over as the Chief of Staff, my first instruction was, in order to defeat the Abu Sayyaf, we have to neutralize first the speed of the enemy in the high seas. And that happened. Now, but because of some legalities, no, hindi kami basta-basta makahuli yung mga speedboats.
Brian De Paz, UNTV News and Rescue, Camp Aguinaldo.
The Interagency Council on Traffic, or IACT, is still not certain as to which of the different versions of the number coding scheme presented to them will be implemented this holiday season. Mon Hokson will tell us why.
The Congress is urgently asking the Interagency Council on Traffic to formulate a better number coding scheme to implement this coming holiday. Different versions have been recommended to the Council, such as the 3-digit coding wherein 3 numbers will be prohibited in a week. But the problem is, vehicles with plate number ending in 1 will be banned 3 times in a week. Another version is to maintain the current scheme, but numbers 3, 5, 7, 9, and 1 will be banned on EDSA from Monday to Friday. The problem with this version is only the said numbers will be prohibited 2 times, while numbers 2, 4, 6, and 8 will be prohibited once a week. Another version is the 4-digit coding, wherein 4 numbers will be banned on major roads until Saturday. All numbers will be prohibited twice from Monday to Saturday. The Congress and the IACT said that all of this will be studied.
Ginagawa namin ng paraan lahat ng pwede makita para maibsan ho yung traffic. May sakripisyo tayong lahat, talagang naiintindihan ho namin yon. Humingi kami ng paunawa pero talagang titignan ho natin lahat yan.
Motorists opposed the suggestion and said public transport must be prioritized.
Pwede mong sabihin yan ngayon sa publiko na okay, may mga sasakyan, huwag na kayong gumamit sa sasakyan dahil meron tayong public utility na maasahan. Yun nga ang wala eh.
The Metro Manila Council, composed by mayors, will convene tomorrow to approve the version that will be beneficial to all for implementation this holiday season. Mon Hokson, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The Department of Trade and Industry reminds consumers to double-check before buying decorative lights. Ray Pelayo will tell us why.
May bahagi natin sa publiko na huwag silang bumili ng ganito mga klaseng Christmas lights kasi nga nakaka-apekto ito sa ating life and property, no?
The Department of Trade and Industry reminds the public, especially holiday shoppers, to buy lighting systems or decorative lighting products from stores accredited by the department. This is to ensure that the products they are buying are safe to use. This afternoon, around 200 boxes of substandard decorative lights were destroyed by DTI Pampanga for failing to pass quality standard. The products also had no import commodity clearance or ICC stickers, proving that they did not undergo proper safety tests. The products were confiscated from sidewalk stalls and small groceries in Pampanga.
Confiscate po ito sa ating mga major trading center, meaning sa San Fernando at po sa Angeles City.
The said decorative lights were imported from China. Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
A mother and her 2 children were killed at a firecracker factory in Santa Maria, Bulacan. Yoshiko Sata will tell us why.
A
triggered an explosion inside the firecracker factory in Santa Maria, Bulacan this morning, leaving 3 people dead and 5 others injured. The explosion happened inside the compound, which is also a residential area in Sitio Bangka-Bangka, Barangay Pulong, Buhangin, owned by a certain Wilfredo Alonzo. 4 houses were also affected by the fire. The Santa Maria police says the explosion occurred while a spark hole was being made inside the factory.
Pagawaan po ito ng paputok at residence na rin ng siyang may-ari. Sa mga paglabag na maaari nating makita, hindi po dapat yun.
A mother and her 2 children were the fatalities. Declared dead on the spot were siblings Ashley Mayo, 2 years old, and Briley Mayo, 5, while their mother, Mary Grace Mayo, 28, died in the hospital due to serious injuries. Mary Grace was a stay-in worker at the factory, and her children were playing inside when the explosion occurred.
Sa pamamagitan ng quitis na nilalagyan ng butas at nilalagyan ng chemical, nilalagyan ng explosive, doon po nagsimula ang pag-spark. Sa dahilan, kung ano ang naging dahilan, hindi po ang sigarilyo.
Aside from the deaths, 5 others have also sustained injuries. One of them is currently in a serious condition. One of the victims describes what occurred before the explosion.
Yung ginagawa ng Marvin, tumalsik sa ginagawa ko, ay gumagawa ako ng mismong bomb, yung sumasabog. Biglang dumami siya, sumabog na rin lang ginagawa ko, dumapa na lang ako.
The owner of the factory is now in the custody of the police while the investigation into the explosion continues. Yoshiko Sata, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
The remains of a 2-year-old boy in Davao City who was allegedly beaten to death by his guardians was laid to rest today. Meanwhile, Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte Carpio believes they have a strong case against the guardians. Victor Cosare will tell us why.
Erlinda Cagalitan, an OFW working in Bahrain, could not contain her emotions seeing the remains of her 2-year-old son John Earl for the last time before being laid to rest this afternoon. John Earl was allegedly maltreated by his guardians Ronilo and Sarah Jane Alcain, which led to his death. Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte Carpio was among those who paid her last respect to John Earl. She says the city government will assist the family in pursuing the murder charges against the suspects. The mayor also believes that they have a strong case against them.
Doon naman sila ito look witnesses, no? And in fact, ang isa is medyo kusog-kusog yun ang iyahang testimony because na siya nagpuyo sa sulod sa balay and naka-witness gid siya sa mga panghitabo. So with the kanang pagtutok sa ato ang lawyer, ma-expect nato na naagyoy padulngan ang kaso against sa katong mag-asawa.
Despite the guardian's appeal for forgiveness, the grieving mother is decided to go on with the case despite having blood relations with Sarah Jane. Erlinda left John Earl to the care of the Alcains as she works in Bahrain.
Sa pagkakaroon dili na kumahat. Sa kumpasaylo para nila. Tungod kasakit yung kayo.
Meanwhile, Mayor Duterte Carpio supports the proposal of the Overseas Workers Welfare Administration not to allow mothers of newborn babies from leaving the country to work abroad so they could give full attention to their child and not leave the obligation to someone else.
Kung mahimo nilang polisiya and then maghimo siyang legal, moagiri ko sa ingana. But basically, para sa mga ato ang kaigsuunan karon nga naghuna-huna nga mag-abroad, di na lang sa sila mga anak or di na lang sa magpabuntis para malikayan ang kanang panghitabo na lain ang magbantay sa bata and dili matutukan og tarong ang pagdako sa bata.
To prevent a repeat of the incident, the city government launched a hotline 0908-818-4444 where people could report cases of child abuse so authorities could immediately act on them. Meanwhile, the city government will have to discuss on what to do with the children of the suspects, a 5 and a 3-year-old, since their parents are now in detention. On the other hand, Mrs. Cagalitan, a single parent, will be flying back to Bahrain to continue with her work so she could support her other 2 children. Victor Cosare, UNTV News and Rescue, Davao City.
Coming up, the low pressure area in the Philippine area of responsibility is now a tropical depression set to make landfall in Caraga Region tomorrow.
The Colombian government and the Marxist FARC rebels have finally agreed to sign a new peace deal.
And U.S. President Barack Obama presents his final Medal of Freedom as the U.S. head of state in a star-studded ceremony.
More from Y News after this break. A low-pressure area in the Philippine area of responsibility is now a tropical depression named locally as Marce. Pag-asa located the cyclone at 420 kilometers east of Hinatuan, Surigao del Sur, packed with maximum sustained winds of 45 kilometers per hour and gustiness of 55 kilometers per hour. It moves west-northwest at 17 kilometers per hour. Tropical cyclone warning signal number 1 is raised over southern Leyte, Bohol, Siquijor, Surigao del Norte and del Sur, Dinagat Island, Agusan del Norte and del Sur, Misamis Oriental and Camiguin. Expect rains and gusty winds in those areas within 36 hours. Meanwhile, eastern Visayas, Caraga and Davao region will experience heavy rains. Light to moderate rains will also be experienced in Palawan, rest of Visayas and the rest of Mindanao. Based on Pag-asa's forecast track, Marce would make landfall in somewhere in Agusan tomorrow afternoon and will cross Visayas and Mimaropa. Residents in those areas are alerted of possible flash floods and landslides due to heavy rains that the cyclone may bring. The Kuwaiti government holds its largest charity race now in its 6th year, all for a noble cause. Mylene Soriano will tell us why.
Every child deserves a chance at happiness, but many children are burdened with disabilities or disorders that may seem insurmountable and an everyday struggle. Thus, the Fauzia Sultan Rehabilitation Institute, or FSRI, organized a charity race called Run Kuwait for the benefit of children's rehabilitation in Kuwait since 2012. Run Kuwait Marathon is the largest charity event with more than 2,000 registered participants this year from different companies and that gathered regardless of age and fitness level, bringing with them the spirit of fundraising to support the Children's Evaluation and Rehabilitation Center.
The purpose of this is two things. To bring awareness to children's rehabilitation and children with disability who have physical or mental disability. So this is part of the run. The other part is to collect funds for this clinic. So we collect it from the runners. All the money from the runners goes to treat children whose parents don't have the funds to pay for full care. The rest comes from the sponsors.
The Ministry of Interior closed 3 lanes of the Arabian Gulf Road in order for the participants to freely and safely utilize the race area. While some Filipino volunteer photographers captured great moments and Filipino cyclists volunteered as marshals, helping in the smooth flowing of the race. The organizers are inviting everyone to participate or be a sponsor next year since this is an annual race. As she describes this year's Run Kuwait as a great cause, great event on a great day.
We're just really grateful that everybody came out from all the communities here. We have everyone from every community in Kuwait joining together in this race to raise funds for children who can't afford medical treatment. And we love the fact that everyone's been really come to this race with a good spirit and tried really hard.
Mylene Soriano, UNTV News and Rescue, Kuwait.
The Colombian government and the FARC rebels are set to sign a new peace deal on Thursday as expected amid massive opposition. RC Reyes will tell us why.
A new peace accord between Colombia's government and Marxist FARC rebels will be signed on Thursday and sent to Congress for approval, bringing a formal end to the 52-year civil war ever closer. The revised document will be signed in Bogota between FARC leader Rodrigo Londoño and Santos, who won the Nobel Peace Prize last month for his efforts to end the conflict with the insurgent group.
El día jueves, pasado mañana, vamos a firmar este nuevo acuerdo aquí en Bogotá, en el Teatro Colón. Y una vez firmado el nuevo acuerdo, Quedan los temas de la refrendación y de la implementación. En cuanto a la implementación, esta debe hacerse necesariamente en el Congreso. Es ahí donde todas las leyes de la República deben ser discutidas y aprobadas.
The government and the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia, FARC, have been in talks in Havana, Cuba for the last 4 years, hammering out a deal to end a conflict that has killed more than 220,000 and displaced millions in the Andean country. The government published the revised peace deal last week in a bid to build support after the original draft was rejected in an October 2 referendum. Amid objections, it was too favorable to the rebels. Santos and Londoño signed the original deal 2 months ago in an emotional ceremony before world leaders and United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon. The decision to ratify the revised accord in Congress instead of holding another referendum will anger members of the opposition, particularly former President Álvaro Uribe, who spearheaded the push to reject the original accord and wants deeper changes to the new version.
Después de escuchar todas las propuestas y alternativas y de común acuerdo con las FARC, es claro que la vía más conveniente y legítima para refrendar este nuevo acuerdo es a través del Congreso de la República, donde además están representadas todas las visiones y opciones políticas del país, desde la extrema izquierda hasta la extrema derecha. Y en esa dirección voy a proceder.
The expanded and highly technical 310-page document appears to make only small modifications to the original text, such as clarifying private property rights and detailing more fully how the rebels would be confined in rural areas for crimes committed during the war. An end to the war with the FARC is unlikely to end violence in Colombia, as the lucrative cocaine business has given rise to dangerous criminal gangs and traffickers. Arce Reyes, UNTV News and Rescue, Bogota, Colombia.
U.S. President Barack Obama performs one of his final tasks as president in a star-studded ceremony at the White House. Clarence Shaughnessy will tell us why.
In one of his final acts in the office, President Barack Obama on Tuesday selected key figures in sports, entrepreneurship, philanthropy, activism, academia, entertainment and the arts among 21 people awarded the 2016 Presidential Medal of Freedom, the highest civilian honor in the United States. In a star-studded ceremony in East Room of the White House, Obama presented recipients including rocker Bruce Springsteen, Motown soul singer Diana Ross, former basketball champions Michael Jordan and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and actors Tom Hanks, Robert De Niro, and Robert Redford with the prestigious medals.
These are folks who have helped make me who I am and think about my presidency. And what also makes it special is this is America. And it's useful when you think about this incredible collection of people to realize that this is what makes us the greatest nation on earth. Not because of our differences, but because in our difference we find something common to share.
The medal is given annually to people who have made outstanding contributions to the security or national interests of the United States, to world peace, or to cultural or other significant public or private endeavors. This year's roster also included Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates and his wife Melinda for their philanthropic foundation, TV talk show host Ellen DeGeneres, veteran actress Cicely Tyson, architect Frank Gerry, and baseball broadcaster Vince Scully. Obama leaves office in January after 8 years, following the election of the Republican businessman Donald Trump. Clarence Shaughnessy, UNTV News and Rescue, New York, USA.
After the awarding, Ellen DeGeneres has pulled off an A-list mannequin challenge video. DeGeneres saw the event as the ideal opportunity to immortalize the iconic moment and embrace the internet video trend at the same time. Joining the fun were rock star Bruce Springsteen, Motown soul singer Diana Ross, Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates, former basketball champions Michael Jordan and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and actors Tom Hanks, Robert De Niro, and Robert Redford. Actor Romel Padilla says he was amazed by Kuya Daniel's professionalism and dedication in doing his advocacy film. Brian Evangelista will tell us why.
Medyo nalibago din ng konti dahil matagal tayong hindi nasabak sa action and na-impress din ako kay Kuya Daniel dahil yung kilos niya is hindi mo masasabing bagong action star eh. Hindi, may kilos si Kuya Daniel, may acting and sarap katrabaho.
Action star Romel Padilla joins the powerhouse cast of Isang Araw, Ikatlong Yugto. He will have a number of breathtaking fight scenes with the main character, director and writer of the movie, Kuya Daniel Razon. Aside from being an actor and movie producer, Romel is currently holding office as a senior board member in Nueva Ecija. That is why he is inspired by the theme of the movie.
Napakaganda dahil isang pelikula na makakapagbigay ng liwanag at inspirasyon na may bukas pa, especially kapag pinag-usapan yung tamang pamamahala at tamang pagsisilbi, lalong-lalo na sa ating mga kapulisan.
The veteran actor is also overwhelmed that he has been picked to join the only advocacy film that aims to shed light on the biggest issues facing society today.
Tahan natin ang pelikulang ito, ang kikitain po ng proyektong ito ay mapupunta po sa rehabilitasyon ng ating mga kababayan na nalulung sa droga at upang sila po ay ating maiahon sa kanilang hinaharap na suliranin.
Brian Evangelista, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Those are the reasons behind the news, November 23, 2016. I'm Angelo, Castro III.
Reasons we delivered to you as they unfold. I'm Gerry Alcantara.
And I'm Darlene Basingan, because we need to know.
We will always ask why. Thank you for watching Y News.